Welcome to West Virginia UnCommonplace interviews and sessions. I'm your host, JR, and we're going to dive into the interviews where we are going to take you to an uncommon place. Hey, everybody, this is JR, host of West Virginia UnCommonplace interviews and sessions. And today I have with me Beth Dudzik. And I didn't chop her name up. She is an accomplished author. She is from Westchester County, and that's all the way in New York, correct?
Yes, that is the next county from New York City.
All right, so she just grew up a hop stepping away from New York City. She grew up in an amazing time, but I'm not here to do all that. Beth is going to tell us about her fascinating background and what has inspired her to become an accomplished writer.
Okay. I think I grew up in one of the best times in the music scene, and growing up in New York, in the New York City area. The 1970s and 80s was a very vibrant rock and roll club scene. And back at the age of 16, when I should have been going to bars, I did. And I met a bunch of musicians who became my bestest friends, and which then started to cascade into dating somebody, and then the whole club scene. And it was a very different time. It was, you went to a club either to see a certain band or because you liked the club. And the experiences I had from that and from the people that I knew really resonated with me for my whole life. And it was something that for 25 years, I had this story in my head. And I had lived in Honolulu. I had done a lot of different things, but the story just stayed with me. And it was an outgrowth of that experience in the music scene. And not many bands did. There is one band that did make it out of that whole club scene. And if I tell you the name of the band, you'll know it. It was Twisted Sister. And yes, and I could tell you stories about that, but it was, there were so many accomplished musicians. And back then you had progressive music, you had the glam rockers, the Southern music. So it was a compilation of a bunch of different people. And I would say that the most accomplished musicians did not get the record contract. So in my books, I take that, and because I can say that I was somebody who was a frustrated singer and just never had the wherewithal to say, I'm going to put myself out there. So I never did. And it had taken me all this time. And the story that I had in my head was kind of, I described it for 25 years like grayscale. I had bits and pieces. And about a year ago, I was cleaning house and working out. And all of a sudden, the story flowed through me like a water faucet. And honestly, it hasn't stopped. I'm writing book 5. And
whoa.
Yes, it was supposed to be one book, and I'm self-published. So that's also something that's something people should know, that the way, especially for a first-time author, to get your book out there is to self-publish. And there's a lot of fraud people out there. I was lucky that I found somebody who was very legitimate. And it's basically, I'm subcontracting an editor, a proofreader, a marketing person. And I have a wonderful collaboration of, I have to say women, it's women, some who have worked together. And together, we all get each other. They understand where my story is. And I took what I had hoped to be my life and wrote it into a story, but it's romance, it is rock and roll, and I marry the two of them together.
Okay, and I like that. No, I'll tell you this real quick. An interesting thing: the person I just had on before you, they work in the book industry and publishing, and they actually help people self-publish their books so that you retain all the rights and everything like that.
That's exactly what I have, because
Right.
yes. And I'm wondering if it's my publishing consultant, but she's wonderful. And
long as her name's not Michelle. Long as her name's not Michelle.
No, it wasn't. It isn't.
Okay.
But I own everything, and everybody else, there's fraudsters who will sell you a package and say, for $15,000, we're going to do that. And your book gets nowhere. And I went to a site called Alliance of Self-Publishers. And anybody who didn't have a green light, I ignored. And I will tell you that there was only 7 of those self-publishing companies that were greenlit. So I interviewed everybody, and I landed on the woman who I love dearly, and we put together a wonderful team, and they will be with me through all 5 of the books. My second book is probably going to come out at the end of August.
Okay.
Sometime in August. And it's expensive, and people need to know that if they're going to do this correctly, you're talking north of $20,000 if you're going to do it the right way. You can hold back on marketing, but marketing is the biggest key to getting your book out there. I mean, you can upload your book to Amazon right now, just a writer. It's not going to be seen. It's not going to be formatted correctly. And, people don't understand that. They say, well, why are you going through all that? Well, because if you want to do it the right way, you do it the way I'm doing it. And there's a cost involved. And I was willing to take that cost on because I believe that my series is going to be big. And I think it will even be bigger than just the books. I've written songs. And when everybody interviews you in the publishing world, they say, well, where do you see your book going? And the natural thing for you to say is, well, I want somebody like Netflix or Amazon Prime to pick it up as a limited series. And then I still own everything. I believe that I will never sell my rights away to anybody. I think that's very important for people to know. And my publishing consultant warned me that, come book 3, one of the big publishing houses could come in and say, hey, we'll take you on. And they'll offer you a big amount of money up front, but you're giving away things. You're giving away your rights. And I said, well, why would I do that when if they want to give me $5 million, I know it's worth 10, 15. And so I would never do that. So I believe in my own product. I have other people who believe in it. So yes, I would never give away my rights.
And I thank you for that, because one misconception that happens out there when someone offers you a free ISBN, people think that's, oh no, you basically gave someone the right to, structure you. So that will be something for a whole nother show that we can do later on in the future. Yes. The Perfection Saga.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I need to know this. 25 years in your head, so it sat there for a while. So you went through the rock stages, and the rock stages you went through 70s rock. So you've seen different facets of rock. You've seen that soft, light-hearted stuff. You've seen punk rock. You've seen the glam,
grunge.
You've seen
love grunge, and then there's post grunge. Yes. And I write because the book goes over a 20-year period. So I incorporate all of that in how the band grows. And of course, then we had the MTV. And when MTV came on, bands exploded because they were getting video time. And, everybody got their TV on MTV. And so maybe somebody who wouldn't have made it, well, their video was constantly playing. So then they became something. So MTV was a very important change in the way the music business became, because back in the day, the record companies owned you, and they said you sign the deal, and it was like 5 albums. And remember Prince with Slave, because he was a slave to the record company. And I think that's why he vaulted so many of his music, because he didn't want the record company to get it. Now, almost every band has their own record label, and their own recording studio in their house or something. So they're actually recording their own music. They have their own label. It's so different. And I go through those changes in the music industry because it wouldn't be authentic if I didn't. And keeping up with the music industry like I did, I knew what those nuances are and what would sell and what wouldn't. And, you could have, a band could have changed the way they started out and become something different. But they always said, we're a hard rock band and we're not going to change. And there's one line where the character says, she looks at the guys, of one of which is her. I don't want to give away a part of the book.
Right. Let's not do that.
The man she loves. And she looks at what they wrote and she said, what is this ballad love garbage? We're a hard rock band and this is garbage. We're not doing this. And when you guys can write some really hard, kicking kind of music, then talk to me. And so they do stick true to that, except she does do covers. And when she starts her concert, she does covers. And it depends on her mood. And she does go through a grunge phase where she says, I want to do Smells Like Teen Spirit. And they all look at her like, oh, are you kidding me? And she's like, no, we're doing it. And she changes from, the only chick in the band and becomes very involved in their business, because as the music industry changes, she wants to be more involved in the business aspect of it. And she always wanted to make sure that she had the back of the band and that somebody else didn't. So she was I made her a little bit of a pioneer in the, women owning. I'm going to be in the business aspect of this also, besides writing and singing and all that other stuff. So I kind of made her a little bit of a pioneer. Maybe, that's the way I saw myself. And I will say that bringing that all back to myself has made me feel like, well, now maybe on TikTok, because I've been challenged by my publishing crew that I can sing, but at a much lower register. And there are certain bands that I can sing really well. And I do that during my workout. And sometimes the voice is really good. And there are days that it just isn't. And I think every musician, every singer does go through those periods of time when, you see a band live and they're either on it or you can tell when they're just not. They fall flat.
Right.
Yeah. So there are days where I'm like really proud of myself and I'm like, yeah, I can sing that Pearl Jam song really well. And 2 days later, it's like, yeah, I'm flat and pitchy. But I said that once I felt confident enough that I would go on TikTok and actually have the music in the background. I'm not going to just sing it a cappella there. And maybe sing one of the songs, because the one thing I do say on all my social media is that the character, Gina is her name,
Okay.
and she's me. And there are all through 5 books, there are pieces of my real life that I have placed in there. And I swore I would not tell anybody what those are. Some people know, my daughters know. And I think for me, at this point in my life, to say I'm out there, I want to be out there, I want to be in the public eye, I want to take this to the highest levels that I can do. And I'm not afraid of doing podcasts, whatever it is, I will do. And I'm proud. And I finally, after all these years, have the ability to say, yeah, I can do this. This is something I can do.
Okay. Now, here we go with the aspect that we need to talk about too, because writing a book gives you a new title. You become an author.
Correct.
And with you have your own terminology, your own coined phrase for what you do in writing. So that phrase is called turning on a water faucet.
Yes.
Please elaborate on that for us.
Okay. So last April, like I said, the story, and at first when I started thinking of the story, it was a little bit harder. And it was, I always say it's kind of like grayscale. There would be visions that would come through, and I was trying to put it together. And like I said, working out in the shower, cleaning my house, and I do that too. The characters' names, it was like everything came in color. And I said, oh my God, I need to sit and write this. And then I also believe in this, and this is a big part of my story, is that the universe was giving me signals for 3 years. And in the way that I went on a diet and lost a tremendous amount of weight. I changed the way I look. And I would walk into Hobby Lobby, and they have those cutesy phrases. And it said, when I walked in, it said, write the book. And then I would go someplace else and it would say something about a book. And I was like, it's calling to me. And I sat down and I started writing what I thought was going to be one book. And when I turned it over to the people, they said, you have 2 books here. And I said, okay, because I couldn't stop writing. Okay. And then my editor said to me, and the faucet's still on, and I have 3 totally separate stories that want to come out, but I keep saying, no, not yet. And I'm still writing, and it's still coming like a faucet. It's like I have it in my head. I know where the characters are going. I know where the twists and turns are going to be. It's just like it came. And people talk about writer's block. I have not experienced that. I've been writing from last April to now, and it flows out of me.
Okay. Now, one thing that we do on the show that's very nostalgic is we have this plug. And with the shameless plug, we get you to obviously plug where people can meet you and greet you across the internet, and where they can find your first amazing book, because the second one you said is coming real soon. And this is going to be a 5-part epic saga, correct?
Right. Correct. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 6 if they want me to write a 6th one.
All right. So let me ask you this before you give the plug. So with 5 books, well, no, I'll ask this later. Do your shameless plug and then I'll ask it right after.
Okay. Well, it is on Amazon, and if you type in "Playing Hard Perfection Saga," it will pop up, and my name will be there. I am on. I have my personal Facebook page was not personal anymore; it's public. I also do have my author page on Facebook. I am on Instagram. I am on TikTok. I'm on Threads. I'm on X, and it's all my name. Except TikTok, I think it's the lady, Beth, my daughter created the TikTok for me. But my website is perfectionsaga.com. And so you can see me on all those, and I do publish content. My marketing person is putting trailers, so there's little tidbits of the book that keep coming out every week. And I used to do a reel on TikTok every day, and then once the book started happening, I said I'm going to pull back a little bit. So now I only talk about things that need to be talked about. I'm going to be doing book festivals starting in September. I'm going back to Brooklyn, where I have a daughter.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Brooklyn, Nashville, Decatur, Georgia. I'm trying to hit the big ones. Austin, Texas, which is a huge one. And I have two other daughters in Portland, Oregon, and that's a big one. So those are the 5 I'm trying to hit up. I'm confirmed in some of them. I'm also in, I put my book in for 3, I think they're literary awards or acknowledgments. And one is with a review page that, by the way, if you want reviews, you have to pay for them. You pay for just about everything in self-publishing. And I was lucky that out of the 5 that I bought, 4 of them were 5 stars. One was 3 stars, which is okay. And so they have a contest. And then Brooklyn and Portland, ironically, the 2 places where I want to go most, have some type of award. So I submitted my book there. And if I just get mentioned, I'll be happy with it. But yeah, you want to reach for the stars. You want your book to be highlighted and said that, hey, everybody who's read it is like, this is awesome. This is great. And you can read my reviews on Amazon, the paid reviews, and then reviews that people who have read the book and left reviews on my Amazon page.
Okay.
So those are important. Those are important.
Okay, so thank you for that. Now, with planning 5 books, like you said, the one thing that I want to get back to the audience, if you can get back in here in the early audio, this is something that's been in your head for 25 years. So right. 25 years, you can make segments of it and you can pull different things. And the creative thing about an author that I love is that you could start out on one path and it goes completely different. Now, with the music, I want to give a reference. I heard somewhere in there that somebody didn't want to make Whitesnake type music. I heard that. If I heard that correct.
Repeat that. I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
All right. You said someone didn't want to make like love ballad type music. So was it like Whitesnake type rock, or was it worse? Was it like REO Speedwagon type?
Neither.
What type of love ballad were we talking about? Were they going?
Okay, love ballad. Yes. Yeah. Yes, the Whitesnake, and we remember Tawny Katane on the car and all of that. Or Styx, remember? Styx?
Oh, yes.
So, yes, but they actually both do write a love song for each other, but it has a little rockier edge. So if I had to hard rock, not as hard as, say, a Metallica. Okay. Maybe, not as metally, but something in that vein.
Pantera, maybe? Pantera or?
Oh, Pantera. Yeah. There's Pantera. There's Nickelback. There's, those groups. Yes, but they were before their time.
Right.
So, so if we go back to say the 70s, then maybe think of Van Halen. Because
Okay,
Van
gotcha.
Halen was, they were rock and roll. Even the Stones, when they were really the Stones, really putting
Right.
it
Not
out
the
there.
pop version. Not the pop
Yeah,
version.
exactly. So more,
AC/DC maybe?
you can say that. You can say that. AC/DC. Just think of those kinds of harder edge bands that maybe your parents are like, oh my god, no, I don't want them
Right.
listening to that.
But nothing theatrical like Meatloaf or nothing like that.
No, 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 no,
Okay,
no,
good,
no,
good,
no.
good.
She would hate that. Gina would hate that. Um, yeah. So, and they stick to their roots, and they both came from two different club bands.
Okay.
And her cousin is her driving force, and she finds out he has a band. And this is the first book, so I can talk about it. And she says, your bass player is your lead singer, and he's a great bass player, but he stinks as a lead singer. So I want to sing. And he's like, what? I didn't say you could sing. And she just naturally falls in, and he doesn't realize that she's a great singer. And she's one of the few females, if any, I don't really talk about any other female. And then what happens is that she meets the love of her life, and they become a duo. And he plays lead guitar, and they sing together, and they're very sexy on stage. And I need to say this: the book is sexually explicit, so if people don't like that kind of thing, maybe not. But women, and it's really it's a romance book technically, but rock and roll really plays a big part.
Strong theme,
Women,
yes.
women love to read that kind of stuff, and
Provocative. You got a provocative book.
provocative, but not dirty, filthy, naughty. I mean, it's naughty, but it's done tastefully, because I'm coming at it from a woman's perspective. So I don't hide what they're doing, but I do it in a very loving, tasteful way. So because women don't want to read something that's filthy. Women want to fantasize that they're the character, or that maybe their husband's going to come home and kind of do that to them. So
Right.
for women, it's all about the fantasy. So yeah, so I write it from that perspective.
And I greatly appreciate that. So Beth, we've come almost to the end of the show. So this is what I need you to do for me real quick. At the end of the show, you have a beautiful mind. I want to give you that, and I'm going to give you this quick testimony. For the moment we started talking, for the moment we did our research on you, shout out to my virtual assistant. Shout out to Alex Sanfilippo at Podmatch too, because we definitely want to give him his chops there
Yes.
for the way that things get matched up. You have an amazing approach to life, and I want to tell you thank you for that. A lot of people don't tell people that because, with the hair and everything, you can see expression. Expression is something that's so hard for people because some people are just mellowed out and they have this term that I hate to use, but I'm going to use it on this one episode. Some
Sure.
people become generic. They become a set form and they conform to the norm. They conform to the norm. And you can
Yes.
tell that you never conformed. You may have did the 9 to 5. We talked about it on the pre-call, but we
Yes.
didn't bring it up here. But you realized who you were, what inspired you, and now you have these amazing books. Two that will be one that's available, one that'll be out shortly, and then 3 more, and then even more than that later. So here's what I need you to do. At the end of this show, let everybody know the great mission statement that follows you around, and let them know why this book will revolutionize their mind in these characteristics in these ways. Their music taste, it will enhance them in their mental space, because it will, because music in your story, the compelling things that go on there will help them, just
Yes.
go ahead and give it to them. Give them the greatest
Okay.
advertisement at the end of the show.
The first thing I have to say is it starts out, and this is the way I live my life, is the universe has the answers for you. And you need to sit and listen. And it told me to do this. And not many people believe that the universe has our answers, but it does. And so that's what drove me to say, it's time. It is your time. It literally said, it is your time now to go out and do this. As far as music, it's the evolution of where we came from, the 70s. And even though they play the same type of music, they learn the business changes. And that is a very important part of the music industry, is the business aspect, because it is a business. Just like when we watch football and we're like, hey, it's a business, and people get bought and sold. And you have to remember that I need to take control of this. And that's what they learn, is they're not going to let somebody else take control of them. And so I really put that in, and I use that as for everybody to live their life like that. It's, other people can have control until you say, no, I'm taking it back. And it's kind of like what I did when I said the universe was telling me to do this. It's taking control of what you want and going out and getting it. And it's a hard thing to do. And some of us just take the easy road and say, well, it would have been nice to do that. But I got to the point where I said, no, I am actually going out and doing it. Much to my daughter's chagrin, because they are, I think they're like, what happened to our mother? She's totally changed. And I don't know if they totally like the person I have become, but they are also supportive at the same time.
Okay. So on that note, Beth, I want to take the time to do this. I want to thank you for coming on. And
thank you.
And I want to thank you for all this. And this stuff will be up on TikTok. This will be ever and anywhere that you get DSPs. You will be able to find all kinds of information about her in the show notes, how to get to the books, how to interact with her. Maybe you can see her at one of these events. So on that note, I am JR, and we are signing off.
Thank you, JR.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.